to go in. That is the... Everybody in the world touched the pad and it should be used. So I've got the, let's take a little... Morning crew and welcome to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now this is part 2 of the repairs on the little Polaris, what was it? Polaris Predator 50. Now these bikes actually, I think the Eaton shares basically the same frame and engine and so on, the little 50, all of this era. It's been used by quite a few different manufacturers as being their platform 50cc kids quad bike. So this repair probably, relates to quite a few other bikes out there. But if you remember on the last video, the last thing that we did was I skimmed the head in the lathe, and it turned out really well, just like the first one did. It wasn't perfectly set in the lathe, but hey, it did the job, and that's all that matters on this bike. Now, I went down to Polaris and I tried to order a new head gasket, because obviously you've got to use a new one each time really to do it properly, because remember on the old head gasket there was all that blow by, and we saw a short video where you could see bubbles, after I sprayed some WD-40 on the head to cylinder interface, you could see little bubbles coming through when I cranked the engine over, which was a clear sign this head gasket had failed. And if you look on there very, very closely, you can see all this black residue where it's been blowing through, and also pretty much telltale on the cylinder head as well. If you'd spotted it on the last video, there is actually oil residue just down here, look. So you can see where it's been blowing through that head gasket out to atmosphere. So clear indication that the head gasket, conclusive on this job that the head gasket had failed. Now I've had a few comments on the first video, because it was a couple of weeks ago that I did this, and they say, oh, just re-anneal the copper, reuse the head gasket. I don't really want to do that. Maybe if you're in the middle of nowhere and you can't, then fine, your call. But I like to use new stuff. Now, so I went down to Polaris and I said, hey look, I need a new head gasket. What's the part number? How much is it going to be? How soon can you get it? And the part number I've found out from the net is 0450003. Pretty sure that's right. Polaris wouldn't give me the head gasket number, the part number, for whatever reason. And basically from them it's no longer available. Now this is a 2004 bike, it's only 13 years old, and Polaris have already turned their back on providing parts for it. It's pretty bad, isn't it? Now I know manufacturers are legally obligated to provide parts for new vehicles for the first 10 years of their life, and after that they don't legally have to provide parts for them in most countries, and that includes this country here, New Zealand. So I was a bit like, oh, bit of a shame, I can't just buy a head gasket. So I then went down to a good friend of mine, a chap called Loffy, and Loffy runs a company called Gasket Specialities Auckland Limited, and there's all the details. There you go, look. So you've got everything you need. And Loffy's already made us a head gasket for that TDR 250. Yes, the copper gasket failed again, and Ben went out and got a proper head gasket made for it, and since then we've had no problems. So but right, another job for Loffy. We'll head down there and we'll get Loffy to make us a gasket. And he says to me, God, where's it gone? He says to me, we don't use copper anymore for these ones. We use, what did he put on the invoice? Let's have a look. Did he actually put the type of material he used? Have a little look. No, he didn't. Anyway, not to worry. So he made me a new head gasket, and it's been made out of, if anybody can recognise that stuff, this stuff here. Now it's not copper at all, it's more of a fibrous kind of gasket. I won't bend it too much, and he reckons this will be just fine. He's used this kind of stuff many times before, and fingers crossed it's going to work, and I'm pretty sure that it will do. Right, so we've got the gasket, and Loffy charged me, and there's his invoice, look, a grand total of 10 New Zealand dollars. Now bearing in mind this gasket is handmade, and I think he's done a great job, but we'll find out when we come to fit it over the studs. Now Loffy also agreed, next time I need to get a gasket made, that we'll be able to do a video showing him actually how he makes a gasket. Now, sure enough, This gasket is really, really simple to make. It's just a little cutout of the material. But he also makes quite intricate head gaskets with the firings, O-ring seals, all that kind of stuff built into the gaskets. Copper pressed gaskets and things that are all shaped. Very, very cool. And it's companies like Loffy's, and this isn't a plug, I did pay for this stuff. Again, he's not paid, this is off my own back. He doesn't even know I'm doing this, to be honest. It's companies like Loffy's that are becoming, I think, more and more important around the world as we have so many, a growing number of vehicles being used, which the manufacturers no longer provide gaskets for, because of course they're getting older and older. And like I say, Loffy, great job, and his business is booming. He's even got some manufacturers going to him to make gaskets up for customers that they can't supply anymore. So good on him. And you know, if it's only a gasket, then he could supply a gasket to you wherever you are in the world. If you live out in the sticks somewhere and there's nobody nearby that can make you a gasket, you could ship him out the old gasket, and the details are on that card, and tell him what you want, and he'll make you a new one and ship it back. So really, it doesn't matter which country you're in. Loffy could, you know, save you bacon, basically. Okay, so where are we at right now? Enough talking, Andy. Well, the bike's on the hoist, and we've got the gasket. The cylinder head's all done. I've just got to clean up the top of the barrel. What shouldn't take too long to do, and then we'll put the cylinder head and the gasket into place and torque it down. Now, just before we go any further, torquing it down, trying to find specs for this little bike was A, difficult, and B, quite ambiguous. I did spend about an hour surfing the net this morning trying to get the torque setting correct. I had first of all, you know, there was no, initially I was just going on forums, and there was a lot of hearsay about, you know, it should be 14 foot-pounds, it should be 28 to 30 newton meters. Well, there's a hell of a difference there. And eventually I found a link where I could download the official Polaris service manual. So yes, it is out there, and you will find it if you search hard enough. But the good news is the torque setting for this cylinder head is 19 newton meters. Now, remember the problem. This cylinder head was warped. That's why we had to skim it. There's a very, very good chance in the past the reason why it's warped is somebody has over-tightened those head bolts. And we don't want to, you know, be in the same boat as them. The whole reason why we're doing this job is to fix it for good. You know, while the customer has it at least. So if we over-tighten one of these cylinder heads, A, you risk warping the head, and as I found out when I was about 14 or 15 years old, working on my old Suzuki Beamish 250cc two-stroke, I over-torqued the cylinder head down on that, and I cracked the head. They were prone for it, and that was quite an expensive replacement, so I don't want to make the same mistake again. 19 newton meters it will be. Okay, so give me a few minutes, I'll head over to the bike, give that top of the cylinder a bit of a clean up, and then we'll install these new parts. And one thing I promised you is I want to do a new compression test with the engine cranking over, obviously, to see if the compression is noticeably higher. Now, there's two reasons why it most likely will be. One is we haven't got a leaking head gasket anymore, fingers crossed, and two, we've reduced the combustion chamber volume because we've skimmed the head. So the compression is going to be even higher than spec, which will mean this bike is going to go a little bit faster than it used to do. It should be fun. Okay, crew, I'm going to head over to the bike and do my bit. See you shortly. You can see down here, look, where it's been blowing out this side. We've got all the black residue down there on the fins and down the bottom and a bit at the top. It really has been terrible, hasn't it? So we're going to do that bit of a clean. This is just brake cleaner. If this isn't enough, I might have to do a bit of a wire brush, I think, but we'll see how we get on. Probably not the best idea letting brake cleaner go down the cylinder, but I think, you know, if it wasn't to a budget, we'd be taking the whole thing apart, but it is to a budget. It just wants to be a quick fix. I'll stick a bit of oil down the cylinder anyway, just to help offset the lack of lubrication until the thing gets some fuel through. I think the old wire brush might be going in there actually. Get rid of that. It needs to be clean and dry for the new gasket, otherwise it may not seal properly. because we've only got 19 Newton meters of clamping force to play with, which is not a lot. It's even less than the TDR. That's 22 Newton meters. So pretty critical, to be honest. If it was out of the bike, we could use some really fine emery cloth and just give it a quick, well, emery cloth, like a nice sheet on a flat surface and just give it a quick freshen up, but it's not, so we're just doing the best we can. Okay, wire brush, I think. It's important we don't break the seal on the base gasket. I'm just holding the cylinder down because I don't have a base gasket, obviously. Probably not available knowing Polaris nowadays. Been a Yamaha, no problem, sir. Here you go. You can still get bits for like 30-year-old bikes, it's fantastic. Okay, it's pretty clean to me. Make sure there's nothing in the bore. Excellent. Okay. Right, time for the new gasket. Now I remember taking the old copper one off. It was a bit of a pain getting it over these studs, so I'm hoping that it's going to work and not tear on me. Wreck Loffy's good hard work. Now that's a bit out, isn't it? Okay, leave it with me. Back shortly. Modification required. Okay, I had a little hunch this might be a problem, and I've sort of prepared for it. Basically, on the original gasket here, this was a real pain to get off, those studs. Yes, I could take each stud out, put a couple of lock nuts on there, take the studs out, and then put each stud individually through the head gasket. Bit of a ball ache. I don't really want to disturb those studs. Loffy obviously was given this to copy. This was his template, and he did a great job. You know, if we line up the holes, you know, I would say that's pretty bang on. So good job, Loffy. It's not anything to do with anything that he's done. And again, if we line it over the cylinder head, hopefully, then again, you'll see that they all line up perfectly. Basically, the only problem is that the holes in that gasket where the studs come through are a fraction too small, in my opinion. They want to be a little bit bigger, because the last thing I want to do is risk damaging this, putting it on. So I'm going to show you a little trick on how to make a hole in a gasket, and in this case I'm going to make the hole slightly larger without damaging the gasket, hopefully. Right, let's go down to the bench and I'll show you. Okay, so no Teng's Tools mat today, because we're basically need the steel surface. You could do this on the back of the vise if you haven't got a decent steel bench like this. And what we're going to do is choose a socket that's going to give us slightly larger size, and by the looks of that one's probably about right. So a bit of test cardboard, sorry Loffy, it's your business card, and we'll stick that on there. Get your hammer, sorry about the earthquake, give it a tap, and then hopefully, oh almost, make sure you get all the way around. There we go. That should pop out of there. Come back. Should pop out of there like that, and then it's not as clean as it could be, is it, Mr. Young? Anyway, not to worry. We'll try again. Have another go. Trial and error. There we go. Pretty easy, isn't it? Right, I'm just going to put that over the stud. See if that hole now clears the stud with a bit of the clearance, and then if so, then we'll do the same on all those four just to enlarge them. Okay, let's see if we're going to just fit over there, look. Oh, bloody good. Right, a lot more clearance on that one. If you get the new head gasket, you'll see that that's a much tighter fit. It sort of just wiggles over the threads. Yeah, just. Okay, maybe we only have to, you know, increase the size of a couple of them. So we'll just do one at a time until we can get it over those studs. And I think it goes on in any direction. See, I just don't want to risk it because it's a bit tight down here and up there. See, it's quite a long way off up there. Right, back to the bench. Okay, now obviously you can get special tools for this that have got a sharp edge to them for cutting out holes in gaskets, and I'm sure Loffy will show us all that when it comes to doing the video on his premises in his nice workshop he's got. But for us, in the middle of nowhere, that don't have gasket making special tools, in fact, I might just use, where are we? Just use a little extension bar just to aid manipulation of the special tool number 36. I'll make sure it's about central. There we go. Brilliant. Right, oh, we did split the gasket, look. Mr. Young, you're a pain. Okay, that won't matter. It's on the outside of the sealing area. It's not a problem. But yeah, a bit of a pain. I don't think it would have done that if we weren't actually making the hole larger. It's just basically pushed the whole thing apart. It's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Not to worry. It still works. Okay. Maybe we should do one more, and that might then give us enough. It's always a bit hit and miss. And sure, I could always stick that on the grinder, but it is a socket. I don't want to destroy my socket. And just give it a sharp edge. Chuck it in the lathe, machine it up. Maybe I could do that. Give it a nice sharp edge. We'll do that. Right, back shortly. Okay, I'm back. Didn't take long. Right, so I've just sharpened up the inside, chamfered the inside of that old socket, so it's now quite sharp around there, so it should cut the head gasket a bit easier now without risking splitting another one. Happens to the best of us, doesn't it? Oh, look at that. Right, bloody good. Okay, let's go and try that. Now, I'm tempted just to do some more. Now it's come out so well. Let's just do all of them because it's only about 1 mil extra on each one. Make sure it's central. There we go. Loffy will laugh when he sees this. Okay. Now this one's slightly off centre, Mr. Loffy. So we'll just try and centralise that again, I think. There we go. Right. Okay. Pretty good. Do I do the one we've split? What the hell? Let's do that again. Just tidy it up. What, split it again, I don't think. Brilliant. Okay, so there you go. We fixed it, I reckon. Let's go and try it on the bike and see if it fits. Okay, there it goes. Nice and clean. Fingers crossed. Oh, look at that. That's what we wanted. Perfect. Okay. Quite happy with that. Sorted. Right. 1 cylinder head incoming. Going on there, look. Okay. Just finger tight for now. Now if these bolts are all rusted up, it'd be a good idea to run a die down them just to clean them up, because that's going to affect your clamping force. So if your nuts are tight going on, that's what you should do. They should flow freely on those studs. Right, last one. Okay, 19 Newton meters. Let's go and grab the torque wrench. Okay, here we go. Is that going to fit in there? Maybe we'll lose the extension, see how we get on. No. Maybe a 10mm deep. Let's try that. Perfect. Okay, now remember you've got to tighten these up just a little bit at a time and diagonally as well. So don't go to full torque straight away. We want that head to go down nice and evenly. And if you hear a loud ping, it means we've cracked the head. I'll never forget that ping when I was doing that Beamish head. Jeez, it was not good. Okay. That's one. Two. Three. Four. Let's go around again, just double check. Brilliant. Right, don't forget to back up your torque wrench, very important. And now all we need, it's not a spark plug because we'll do a compression test, aren't we? We need the compression tester. Before we do that, we need to make sure that that piston, because we've machined the head down, doesn't hit the head. That would be really, really bad, wouldn't it? Well, we didn't take too much off the head, so we'll just flick this cover off and get access to being able to turn the crankshaft manually and slowly, hopefully. So we should see the end of the crankshaft and be a big nut hiding behind there that we can use to turn the crankshaft. Never been in one of these before, so we'll find out. Right, oh yeah, one flywheel, perfect. Okay, let's just get rid of that if we can. There we go. Maybe a 17 or a 14. Oh, 14 I think. Let's have a look. Perfect. Right, well, here goes nothing. Oh yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got clearance, and that's a good thing. Okay, we'll leave that off for now. Right, compression tester. Oakley dokley. Now I've rigged up a battery, just a car battery, so we can crank this thing over. I'll get this put in, and we'll thread it through there. We can pop our gauge on. Perfect. Okay, make sure there's nothing in the gauge. Brilliant. Right, well, here goes. I can't remember what it was before, so we'll have to have a look at the footage. Okay, well, we've got there 130, near as damn it, 129. So one more go. Yeah, 130 psi. That's more than it was. I remember that. I'll check the footage and let you know. Okay, here we go. Right, ready to crank. Oh, about just under 120 psi. which actually is not too bad for a two-stroke. Okay, well, one thing's for it. Now it's time. We can run with that cover off as long as we've got that little clip out of the way. Stick that up there. Right, let's get the spark plug. Get this thing fired up, hopefully. Right, just make sure we've got a spark. The plug's good. Pretty sure it was quite new when we did this work. Stick it on there again. Time to get a shock handy. Ignition is on. Perfect, we have a spark. Not the world's best spark, but we have a spark. Okay. Believe it or not, 12 to 19 Newton meters. So let's just set our torque wrench again. And given it's an old spark plug, it's been crushed a few times on the washer, we'll just go for the 19. That's near enough. Right. Wow, didn't take a lot, did it? Okay. One plug cap. And we should do our little leakage test, shouldn't we, as well? We should do that. Right. Okay. The choke. See if it's going to go. Way! Easy. Pretty peppy. Super. Good stuff. And just while we're in here, actually, that's the ignition pickup. And you see that little raised bit on the flywheel? That's basically what triggers the spark at the spark plug through the ignition system. Pretty good. So the ignition system knows where the crankshaft is, the position. Very happy with that. Now we're going to do a little check, won't we, around the cylinder head to see if it was leaking. Pretty sure it's not though. Okay, so you can see the new head gasket just down there, that sort of grey line. Okay, let's have a little look, see if we've got any bubbles. Well, there you go. That little, I was going to swear then, that little quad is fixed. Okay, it needs all the plastics put back on. But there's more to the story in actual fact, because, you know, when I'm making these videos, it's quite easy to miss bits out and edit things away. I don't like to do that. After I did that test, it then wouldn't start. Now, bear in mind, this quad's been stood for quite some time, and did a few checks. Did quite a lot of checks actually, because it just didn't seem very happy. But it wasn't a combustion problem. You know, that compression problem. It turns out the plug cap, junk, and that new spark plug that I put in about 6 months ago is also junk. I think somebody must have dropped it on the floor, so I'm going to need to get a new one of those. And the fuel was off, so put fresh fuel in it. Found another spark plug. Okay, it wasn't quite the right one, but I just didn't screw it all the way in. She started straight up. It's pretty good. And yeah, found a brand new NGK plug cap, so that's on there now. So there you go. That's it. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that little quad doesn't come back again, because I'm actually, don't really like it anymore. It's starting to bug me. It's like my Achilles heel. Anyway, so there you go. If you found the video helpful, then why not subscribe to the channel? Click on subscribe. You'll see a little gear icon turn up. Click on the gear icon and then you can turn on notifications. You can also click the little bell ringer thing and you'll see the little shaky bits next to it when it's turned on. And our friends down at YouTube will send you an email as and when I upload any new videos. And my apologies, the last few weeks have been a bit sporadic. Work with Yamaha is, well, it's pretty damn full on, to be honest with you. And trying to fit videos in is extremely difficult. But hey, I'll keep doing it because I'm enjoying doing the channel. And man, I think we had over 1 million minutes watched in the last 4 weeks. Awesome stuff, isn't it? Anyway, so thanks for the support. I'm going to sign off now. You'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, Google+, and Twitter. Feel free to communicate through any of those portals, but don't forget the videos are on YouTube. So use the comments section on the YouTube channel as your first point of contact. And then if you want to migrate off for a private conversation, that's fine, no problem at all. All right, crew, until next time, see you around. Cheers, over and out.